Good morning, you beautiful people. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. If you have played the Battlefront beta for Star Wars, you will have probably played Walker Assault, so you are familiar with the incredibly unbalanced and weird game mode this actually is, and the fact that it is one of 3 different game modes that we get in this beta, and it being the biggest one, is incredibly devastating. There are so many things wrong with this game mode, I don't know where to start, but let's start from the Rebel side, because that is what was most apparent when the beta first launched. The Rebels never ever won. But that has started to change. More and more, the Rebels are winning and understanding how to win. We'll get to that. But the Rebels, out the gate, on a regular, fair, completely honest playing field, are at every single disadvantage available. They have to overcome so many obstacles in order to get a victory. If you don't know how this game mode works, there are 2 AT-ATs. There are 2 walkers on the map. The health bar is up in the top right area. Your goal as a rebel is to destroy those. You cannot touch them until your Y-Wings attack. Your Y-Wings attack on 3 separate occasions. There's the first stage, the second stage, and the third stage. During these stages, the walkers are walking towards these command post type areas. You must capture these posts and call in more Y-Wings. You can call in as many as you possibly can during these little sessions. However, the average is anywhere from 3 to maybe 6 on a very good day. In order to activate them, you must run up to them and hold E, well, on PC it's E, I think it's X or square? I think it's square on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. You must hold that button for, it's not too long, like a second or 2, and then you will start calling in your phone call. You'll pick up the phone and you'll be like, hey Y-Wings, can you come in and do your job? But that takes a good 30 seconds to actually get accomplished. Within that 30 seconds, an Imperial can come up and press E or X or square, whatever it is, during that time and cancel the call. Now, once the Y-Wings start attacking, hopefully you have enough. You must do a couple things. You have to either A, put on ion stuff like an ion grenade, which is good against vehicles. You have to put on ion charges, which turns your gun blasters into very effective against vehicles. You have to get an X-Wing or an A-Wing or a speeder, and you have to shoot the walkers, or you can just try to get in a turret and try to destroy the walkers. Or what is most effective and what is most powerful is calling an orbital strike. You cannot call in an orbital strike directly on top of the AT-AT. This is a little tip, you have to call it in a little bit in front of it. I think on the head specifically. I don't know, I think it's the way the programming works, like the AT-AT. I don't know, but if you try to call it in too close to the AT-AT and you right click or you try to confirm the orbital strike, it won't do it. Now that sounds pretty simple. You have 3 separate occasions to do that. However, when you think about the core fundamental dynamic of this game mode, when the Y-Wings attack, you have to. These AT-ATs have so much health. You must spend all of your energy and effort and just focus destroying these things. Whereas the Imperials, on the opposite side, can spend all of their energy and effort killing the idiots looking up in the sky trying to shoot down something that's not gonna die. They have AT-STs, the AT-ATs themselves, they have TIE fighters, they have 20 men on the field completely and utterly dedicated to killing. And that is it. Therein lies the unbalance of this game mode. The Rebels have to do so much, and the Imperials just have to kill. To add insult to injury, In order to get very effective stuff against the AT-ATs, there are these cards that are laid about the field in order to be even have fun at the game, you know, even to get into an X-Wing, to get a power-up. There are cards spread around the map, like I said, but because of the fact that the Imperials are attacking and they are walking forward, all of the cards, the majority of the cards, are behind enemy lines. If you are a rebel, you have to go out in the open and capture a card for the chance to get something that's powerful against walkers. Whereas if you're on the Imperial side, you get your choice between an AT-AT, the AT-ST, do you want to fight in a TIE fighter, or maybe a different type of, you know, you get so much time. There's so many different power-ups on the Imperial side, and there's barely any on the Rebel side. And believe it or not, the map itself is heavily favored towards the Imperials. Every single section you play, with the possible exception of the first section, is so in favor of the Imperials. It is so, when you're playing as a rebel and you're trying to do anything, you are out in the open. The Imperials have cover, the Imperials have air support, the Imperials have walker support. You as a rebel have to go into all of those vehicles, all of those guys, just to try and get into an X-Wing. And because it is so difficult to get into an X-Wing, and it's so easy for them to get into a TIE fighter, there's usually an imbalanced ratio of TIE fighters to X-Wings. This would be fixed if there was a fixed location for both TIE fighters and X-Wings, if they were both able to go at any point in time from any of the sides. And it would be super cool as a rebel to go all the way around the map to get into a TIE fighter and start shooting down other TIE fighters as a rebel. That would be so fun, and it's something so simple that could add so much depth and fun to it, but that we're getting off our tangent. The first phase is where you get the X-Wings. Every single X-Wing spawn, except for one, is out where AT-ATs and AT-STs can kill you. You know, there's one piece of cover, there's one big mountain that rebels like to use, but it's very easy to take them down of. But in the second phase, it's even worse. In the second phase, 80% of the rebel spawns are inside the bunker. Now granted, it's very easy to call in Y-Wing support. It's very easy, the phone's right there, you just go there, you press and hold E, it's like, hey, can we get some more Y-Wings? It's great. But because of the fact that you are indoors, it makes it so that the Imperials can just watch the outside and camp and wait. We all know during that second phase that there's two doorways that the rebels like to leave, and there's AT-STs, there's snipers, there's all sorts of troops just waiting for you, camping for you. Granted, I've gotten so many grenade kills just because there's a doorway that I threw there that it's so insanely unbalanced. And to make it even better, when the Y-Wings get called in, we were distracted before as the rebels, now we're spawning inside while the Y-Wings are attacking, while we should be attacking on the outside, but we're spawning on the inside, which gives us even less time to do any sort of damage to the AT-ATs. Now on the third stage, this is where it is literally flat ground with trenches. This is something that is a very interesting dynamic. It is trench warfare. You really do feel like it's trench warfare, and that's a really cool dynamic. But again, the rebels are at the disadvantage with the AT-ATs, with the AT-STs. There's getting orbital strikes dropped in on them. There's no cover whatsoever. There is the side of the mountain, which is very popular sniping, a very popular sniping spot, and that's where I like to be personally. The speeders that are the only vehicle in that section are out in the open, and if you get seen by a turret, if you get seen by an Imperial, if you get seen by an AT-ST, you're gonna die trying to go for one of those speeders. And when you call in one of those speeders, you're probably going to be taken down because the TIE fighters and the TIE interceptors are so easy to get from the Imperial side yet again. And the Imperials have the height advantage, so even in the trenches, your head might stick out a little bit more than the Imperials will. And again, this is one of those things where it's pretty easy to call in the Y-Wing support because you just throw up a shield and it's basically right there. It's basically at your spawn. Well, again, all of this considering you have a good team, which you know me, I never get a good team, so that rarely ever happens to me. I'm sure you've seen gameplay of me. In fact, I will throw in the gameplay of where I won as the rebels super quickly here towards the end. But once the Y-Wings attack for this third and final time, if you have a speeder, you can go up to an AT-AT and you can do it just like the movies. You can attach your tote cable and you can spin around the AT-AT. It's a fun little mini game you play and you can take them down. I've actually done this before, I think on the console version, so I didn't record it. But it is fun, it's a nice little game mode. I think it's really well balanced, I think it's really good. I shouldn't say well balanced, but I think the dynamic is a really fun dynamic. But also, if you have a speeder and the AT-AT walker is at a very specific area of the map and you do that tote cable thing, you will crash into the mountain. You will die and crash into the mountain. You have zero flight control when you're in this little mini game section. It's just death. It's just you suck, you die, you can't do that. You run into the mountain and explode. And so with every single disadvantage to the rebels, you would think, man, playing as the Imperials must rock. You just kill her, you get to fly in different planes, and yes, honestly, that is how it is. The first time I played as an Imperial. I thought I was a beast. I thought I was the most amazing PC player ever. I was like, how am I doing so good at a PC game when I haven't even played that many PC games? You know, I went like 15-0. I think you guys have seen the gameplay. It's because the rebels aren't focused on you. It's because the rebels don't care about killing you. They're too busy scrambling for the next car. They're too busy looking for the Y-Wings or the speeders or the orbital strikes or something else. They're trying to capture this thing that you couldn't care about. You're just killing them. So that way when you play as the rebel, you're actually going after these things and you're not worried about the enemies and you feel so overwhelmed. You feel like the entire enemy team is just so strategically smarter than you are, but then you flip sides and it's completely the opposite. The other team is so stupid and you're the strategically smart ones. It's just so unbalanced. Must it be so great to play as the Imperials, right? Well, no, it's not, because, well, for one, you know you're probably going to win. You're gonna win very easily. But if you lose, it really has absolutely nothing to do with you. You have no effect. And as the Imperials, your role as the Imperials is completely useless. Yes, you can kill. You can kill people off of the little phone booths. You can kill people away from your walkers and stuff, but you have absolutely no control if one of the random power-ups is going to be an orbital strike. If the rebels win in this game, it's because they have fought and they are working as a complete team. They are destroying the enemy team. That is what you need to do to win as the rebels. So when you lose as the Imperials, it's not because of your fault, it's because of the team's fault. And fault isn't the right word, it's just bad luck. It's just you came across a half-decent team that kind of knew what they were doing and luckily got an orbital strike, because it's very easy to kill them off of those posts. And so as the Imperials, it's not satisfying to win, and it's not satisfying to lose, and it's not even like it's a fair loss. And add in a very terrible spawn system, and this is got to be the worst game mode I can even comprehend to believe actually exists in any video game. How would I fix this? Well, I mean, really, we've got so many options. I mean, give the rebels any sort of benefit. I mean, but even so, even if you give the rebels a benefit, there is nothing for the Imperials to do. There's nothing that the Imperials can do to defend the walker if they do get an orbital strike. I'm not saying that I don't want the Imperials to win all the time. I just want it to be based on skill. I want it to be because I was better than you, not because I was faster than you, or I have a better team than you do. And it sounds really complicated. I'm not speaking very well today. It's been a long time since I've recorded, and I apologize, but it's not fair. It's not consistent. You know, if you win as the rebels one game, there's zero guarantee you're going to win it as the next game. And because this is the biggest battle we have in the beta, it turns me off from the entire beta. Drop Zone is fun, it's great, I like it, I love the single player, but the single player takes 5 minutes to complete. There's no other draw to this game besides Drop Zone. That's it. That's the one thing we got. And everything else is random and not fun and unbalanced. And so those are my very, very deep and in-depth thoughts about Walker Assault. What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think should be done about it? I might do a video separately on that, the way I would like to see a Walker Assault type gameplay mode play out. But that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy. And until the next absolutely beautiful Star Wars morning, I'll catch up with you guys later. And as always, have a great day.